Hello, welcome to another Daily Muppet on Sunday morning here. I'm recording this just before the game, so just wanted to get this kind of out there, ahead of kickoff, have people, obviously there's been a lot of talk and a lot of craziness over the last few days, and I think it's important just to have some perspective and clear things up. On what's going on. Been a lot of requests about, what is actually happening. So, what's gone on in the last few days here with the deadline Friday night and some of the news that came out Saturday is essentially three major things to cover. Number one, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has put two bids on the table as of now. The first bid is one that is for the regular bid for a full takeover, buying out all 6 siblings like he was intending to, and the valuation of that bid is a bit over 5.2 billion pounds. It would see all of the Glazers sell their shares, and then same as ever. The alternate bid, which is obviously the one that's causing a bit of consternation among fans, is a bid in which he buys out the 4 siblings that are not Joel and Avram, the other ones, all the other siblings. And then Joel and Avram retain their shares. And I'll talk about that one more in a minute. At the same time, the other news that is out there is that came out is that Qatar submitted their final bid at a price not even above 5 billion pounds. And so apparently their bid was fairly underwhelming, and it comes out now that INEOS have actually, throughout all of the rounds, bid higher valuation than Qatar. And it's very strange given the briefings and things that have been out there. So, a few things. This is what I want to clear up. Number one is this. As of now, it is as simple as Qatar have not followed through on their briefings and things. Their talk from the start about blowing other bids out of the water, all of these kind of things, paying whatever it takes. They have not done so as of now. Their valuation to the Glazers, and this is what people really need to understand. The valuation that Qatar have offered, the Glazers would not sell. It's not a sale. And the reason it's important to understand that and accept it is there's no alternate that it's Qatar in the real world. I know what people want, but based on the offers that Qatar have put forward, the Glazers would not sell. We would be talking about the Glazers delaying or putting off the sale or not selling right now and kicking the can down the road another year or two or something like that until they can get other investors involved or things like that. And we'd be having the same discussion, about some American investment group or PE firm or something getting involved, in a year from now. So it's just something that people need to accept and get with that point. Qatar have not made a bid that the Glazers would accept. Now, should the Glazers accept it? Yes. They should have accepted the bids at 5 billion or 4.5. It's a good valuation for the club considering lack of investment and things like that and what needs to be spent. But they don't have to. And they're not intending to. And so it's just something that has to be understood and accepted, because right now the scenario that we're faced with is Qatar have not put a bid forward that the Glazers would accept. So you comes to the 2 bids from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. His full buyout bid is the best bid on the table, of course, and ideally that is what the Glazers accept. However, there's a lot of misconceptions about the other one and a few pieces of information here. Number one is the buyout of the 4 siblings would not, under any circumstances, leave the Glazers in any sort of control of the club. There's been a lot of talk about these Class B conversions and things like that, and it's just complete representation and being ill-informed about the state of how things run in business. And I think it's been fairly irresponsible, the reporting on it. Nobody is paying a valuation of $5+ billion to not have control of Manchester United. The value is in the control. And so the bid is for control. And it would result in a change in how the shares are structured, and that the Class B shares don't necessarily have to convert. Go on. That the Class B shares don't necessarily, don't have to convert to Class A. That's not like some legal requirement that they cannot change. It's simply passed with a resolution. And something that would automatically be done as a part of the sale. Sorry, I lost my voice on Friday night from work and such. So it's a resolution that would simply be passed that would change that, so that conversion doesn't essentially occur, and that essentially Jim Ratcliffe would end up with about de facto about 75-80% of the vote, which, with the way that Manchester United is structured, gives him full control. The controlling interest or controlling party has full control. That's been stated now a few times by people, that there would be no control from the Glazers. It would only go through in this way if Jim Ratcliffe has 100% essentially control of the club. But there's more to it than that. What's also been stated by Duncan Castles, and I understand this part of it to be true as well, and you have to understand the intention here, is Jim Ratcliffe is offering over the year or two in the next few years. This was the intention from the start of putting this bid forward, was to offer over the next few years a premium price to Joel and Avram for their shares to get them fully out of the club. If they were not to accept those prices, that premium would go off the table. Now you have to think about what he's doing there. Essentially what he's doing there is saying, I'm not sure we can get them to sell right now unless we go to amounts that we won't go to, that Qatar won't go to, that nobody will go to. Because then you're going to have to pay all of the 6 siblings that same amount, and the other 4 siblings don't want that much. So pay what it takes to get the 4 siblings out now. Offer a premium. So let's say the 4 siblings are each getting, at the current valuation, they're getting something like, let me think about this, math. At the current valuation, they're getting something like 2.7 billion split between the 4. So it's about 600, 700, almost 700 million each. Well, you're offering them about 600-700 million each for the 4 siblings, and then maybe another 900 or 1 billion each for Joel and Avram if they sell within the next 2 years. So you're paying, rather than paying $1 billion to each sibling and ending up spending $6 billion, you're spending about 4.7 because you're paying what the 4 siblings want to get out, but offering a high premium to Joel and Avram as a separate deal in the future, because you cannot offer them a different deal as the other 4 siblings right now. So it's actually, if it works out the way that it should, the intention is to buy the Glazers out completely over the next few years. In the meantime, it means full control. So I understand, I support, protests against the Glazers, support getting them out of the club entirely. From an emotional standpoint, it's frustrating that they would be able to profit or have anything to do with the club moving forward. But realize that what's on the table right now is essentially Glazer Stay, or Sir Jim Ratcliffe gets the controlling stake of the club and gets to do what he plans to do, which is to invest in the stadium at Carrington. Pump money in. He has a lot of ways of increasing the revenue of United through INEOS. And do everything he would do normally as an owner, with an agreement to buy the Glazers out in the future. But what's on the table is, and what people need to really face is number 1, Glazer Stay, or 2, they accept the full buyout from Jim Ratcliffe, but if they don't, then The only option that sees them ceding control is this. And ideally as well, it does include that they would be bought out over the next couple of years fully, but in the meantime, the club goes into the hands of somebody else. That's the reality of it. And that's not going to change. And, you know, it's like, you can't, Qatar have not made a better bid. Right now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made 2 better bids. A better bid for full buyout and a better bid for this partial buyout. Let's see. We hope they would still just sell the whole thing. Potentially they will. But if they don't, just realize something. This is the only way to get the club out from control of them into someone else's hands. And so, you know, everybody can be angry. They can be upset. They can be pissed off about it. But it's not, oh, here's a way to keep the Glazers or getting in bed with the Glazers. It's the only way to get them out of control of the club and take Manchester United away from them. So, you know, just bearing that in mind. I'm not in love with it, but like I say, I think I'm facing the reality of this situation a bit more than a lot of people are, which is this or Glazer stay in control. And so my preference is anything that gets the Glazers out of control of Manchester United. That is more important than anything else, that the Glazers do not have control of Manchester United moving forward. Okay? So that's my thoughts on it. That's kind of the reality of the situation. Tell me your thoughts. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. See you in the next one. And hopefully United get the win today, because getting top 4 is something that needs to happen as well.